The number one running back in the 2021 class is TreVeyon Henderson. TreVeyon Henderson announced on Friday evening that he is committed to the Ohio State University, giving their second running back commitment in 1 week. They have filled their boat. TreVeyon is a prodigious talent out of Hopewell, Virginia. He rushed for over 2,000 yards last year. He led them to a 15-0 record state championship, and he was slated to take a visit to the University of Oklahoma on April 18th until we had the suspension of all sports and activities. But during this time, Ohio State has really turned up its recruiting in a way that is unprecedented. During a dead period, they have picked up commitment after commitment after commitment from top kids. The number one player in the state of Missouri, Ja'Kalen Johnson, a cornerback out of DeSmet, St. Louis. He committed to Ohio State. I mentioned Evan Pryor. I mentioned TreVeyon Henderson. These guys are going to go play with Kyle McCord. They're going to go play with the number one guard in the nation, and Donovan Jackson, who is on the same offensive line as OU commit Cullen Montgomery. They are absolutely destroying this thing we call recruiting. Meanwhile, the University of Oklahoma loses out on yet another top running back commit. The second that it's really wanted in 4 months. Going back to Jace McClellan flipping his commitment and signing to Alabama during the early signing period after a 2-year commitment to OU. The Sooners really need help at running back because Trey Sermon, as you know, went into the portal, came out at, you guessed it, the Ohio State. Ohio State is now 80 points clear of number 2. That's 80 points clear of Clemson in March with 15 commits in the boat. At the rate they're going to put together the greatest recruiting class of all time by any one school in the rankings era. Not a small feat. Kerry Coombs doing a job. Al Washington doing a job. Tony Alford doing a job. Ryan Day doing a job. Brian Hartline doing an absolute job. How is Oklahoma going to react to losing the commitment of TreVeyon Henderson? Well, they're going to continue to talk with him. He's going to continue to talk with them. Because what's most disconcerting about this, if you are Oklahoma, is you lost J.K. Dobbins in much the same way that you lost TreVeyon Henderson. J.K. Dobbins committed to Ohio State without ever visiting. TreVeyon Henderson still hasn't visited the Ohio State. Committed. This is just a couple of weeks after I spoke with him, and he said, I don't really know. Well, something changed in those 2 weeks, and it didn't change for Oklahoma. Changed for the team in Columbus. And then add to that, what is OU going to do if they don't land Camar Wheaton, who is also a prodigious talent and a 5-star running back? He's from the Dallas area. He's one of the last kids to visit Oklahoma before everything shut down. You want him in the worst way, but he's also really, really high on LSU. And all they've done is about what Oklahoma's done. They put players into the league, and they have an opportunity to show what Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to do when he gets drafted. Where he gets drafted is going to help tremendously. They got John Emery already over there. Ty Davis-Price is also there, and Chris Curry's probably going to be the bell cow back this season. But you also would move to a guy like L.J. Johnson, who I think would want to come to Oklahoma a bit more than you might have to convince a Camar Wheaton. And now you might need to turn your eye in-state to Tulsa Union's A.J. Green. Green is a kiddo who's absolutely outstanding as a corner, and he's got tremendous speed, and he's been recruited heavily as defensive back by a number of institutions. But he wants to be a running back. So much so that he has said to many people, I am a running back. I want to play running back. Perhaps Oklahoma might start to look at him as a running back because they're in such a need. They need to take 2 running backs in this class. They need to take 2 running backs in this class because they wanted to take 2 in 2020. They only got to take 1. That's Seth McGowan. They also lost Trey Sermon a year before they thought they were going to use another running back. If you could get all 3, you might have to truly consider it. At the rate that the kids are committing, at the rate that you've been losing running backs, and with the health of your running back room, you can't afford to be short. DeMarco Murray got the job in part because he is super talented as a recruiter. He is super talented when it comes to relating who he is, and you hope that his reputation carries some weight with the kiddos. Didn't seem to matter for TreVeyon Henderson, not right now. Will it matter for Camar Wheaton? I don't know. It certainly matters that he's able to communicate with him, and I think that's the thing. I'm asked many times, hey, RJ, you talk with the kids. What is it that Oklahoma is not doing to land the truly high, elite level kids? Why are those kiddos committing to Ohio State, to Georgia, to Alabama, to Clemson? It's relationships. It's also championships. Okay? Winning the Big 12 doesn't carry the weight that it once did, because Oklahoma has only shown it can put quarterbacks and wide receivers in the NFL's first round. It's only shown that it can make the playoff. It's only shown that the defense is going to hold it back. I've said this for years, and I will continue to say it until a first rounder on the defensive side of football for Oklahoma is drafted. Every blue chip kiddo that plays defense that chooses Oklahoma does so out of his good graces, because you can't show him that you could put him into the first round in the NFL draft. You can show a quarterback. That's why Caleb Williams is really looking hard at OU. And that's the top quarterback in the 21 class. Because he can look at Kyler Murray and say number 1 overall pick, Heisman winner. Because he can look at Baker Mayfield and say number 1 overall pick, Heisman winner. Because he can look at Jalen Hurts and see runner-up to the Heisman Trophy. Marquise Hollywood Brown, first-round draft pick. CeeDee Lamb probably ends up a first-round draft pick. On and on we go. Look at the offensive linemen that get put into the league and how long their careers last. Orlando Brown is a Pro Bowler. Defensively, what can you show? Obo Okoronkwo? Ain't going to cut it, dog. Stephen Parker? Ain't going to cut it, dog. Zach? Please. Zach needs to stay off the Twitters and work on his game. No, Kenneth Murray Jr. is going to do the best. Neville Gallimore is going to do the best. Those guys are going to do the best for you if you want to sell the top defensive players committing to play at Oklahoma. But now it's a thing with running backs? Yeah, it's a thing with running backs. Rodney Anderson's the last guy. Before him, Joe Mixon went in the second round. I get that running back is a dependent position and everybody believes that you can throw anybody back there to play it. Well, Oklahoma might be the first to find out here. I mean, that's just what it's going to be. Camar Wheaton, LJ Johnson, AJ Green, those are the guys that you want right now. We'll see if they decide to choose Oklahoma. Be interesting.